Hello friends, thought I'd take you along with me on my fan project for the little AGT 1-ton QH12. Bought these fans from Amazon. They're 6-inch radiator fans, so that sounds like a good deal. And I thought they got these little clips on the side. I thought, well, just see what that looks like. And lo and behold, it matches up pretty good with these existing black cover bolts. And that was going really well until I tried to take this one off, and apparently it was cross-threaded or something. This one here will work. I haven't tried the bottom one yet. It may be the same. But what I'm gonna do is, after I get that off, I'll probably have to cut it off, is there's no bracket down here on the bottom, but it does line up with an existing hole in the fan. So what I'll probably do is make a bracket and just bolt it like that. Then I'll have 3 bolts in it without drilling any holes in the existing panels. So I'll take you along for the journey and we'll see how it comes out. So what I did was I took my little angle grinder and I just started grinding on one side to try to get as close to the threads as I can, hoping that will loosen it up. And what I found is I think that works pretty good. So I can get that one off and then take the other one off and then try to make a bracket for the bottom. All right, I got all 3 of the studs, nuts off the studs. Now I gotta see if it really fits and what I gotta do for the bracket. I put the 2 existing nuts back on, and unfortunately they're not long enough to add a washer, and I don't even know if they're making it to the nylock. I know that one is not for sure, so probably what I'll end up doing is Loctiting them on so they don't vibrate off. For the bottom, I gotta get from here to here with the bracket that'll probably go on the underside with a screw through the nut and bolt through the bracket, and then a nut to clear the stud, or the hole to clear the stud, and then I'll just screw that on and this job will be done, except for the wiring. Well, like anything that should be easy, turns out that the further you dig, the harder it gets. This panel, this screws on from the inside. What they did for the studs, which I like the fact that they have studs, but they used just hex bolts. And there wasn't enough clearance when the hex bolts weren't lined up with the length of the slot. So what I did was I took a little carbide burr and I opened them up for clearance. Now the panel sits down flat against the green panel. Now I can start putting it back together. All right, here is the fan installed on the outer side cover. What I did was I used these little brackets that were included in the fan, and that lined up with 2 of the studs. For the 3rd stud, or for the third mounting point, I made a little 1/8 by 1/2 inch bracket and drilled a 1/4 inch hole and tapped a 1032 in through the bracket that holds it on the bottom. Seems fairly stout. Since I lost some of the thread length on the studs, I did go ahead and blue Loctite those along with the 1032 screw. All I gotta do now is put it together. Here it is back on the excavator. I can see there was one little problem with my design. It did not account for that gray bracket that I didn't paint black sticking through. Other than that, it's pretty much seamless. Today I started working on the fan for the engine side. We'll call this the hard side. What I found was these screws are about 4 times too long, so I guess if they come loose it takes them longer to rattle out. But anyway, they're not too bad if you can just loosen them and then with the wrench and then spin them out with your fingers or the socket and extension. But in this case, this one right here, the front lower one, did not spin out, and you can see that it's pretty stripped. So I think I'm going to try to figure out what that bolt is and get a tap to retap that hole. What I did find though was it made it a lot easier to take the ignition switch, the light, and the hour meter out. I was going to take the hour meter out anyway because I'm going to put one of those wrap around the spark plug ones. But that gave me a lot more clearance to get the top bolt out. And once I did that, it went pretty fast. Now I'm going to move on to putting the second fan in. I got the second side done, and this is more of what I was looking for. But I did find out, I talked about this strip bolt, cross threaded or whatever it was. But I found in my pile of things I save, one of these guys. And this is from some of the crates I took apart. And I thought it was 5/16. So I tried to screw one of my nuts onto the 5/16 and it didn't go. And I tried to screw it on this and it didn't go. And then I tried to screw this into the excavator hole and it went really well. So these are pretty tough. They got a nice big washer on them. They got the Torx drive, and it makes it a pretty easy to assemble. They're a little bit shorter, but from the inside, you can't really see what, but you can see it down on the bottom, and there's one on the back, and there's one on the top. It actually went about 3 times faster, the whole thing, just knowing what I was doing this time.